Hi everyone, so recently on this channel I have been live streaming the first Naruto Storm game, and this game is something else. I'll be honest with you guys, I have never played the first Storm game. This was my first experience. Before I had played almost all the Storm games, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and Generations, I think it was called. That was actually pretty interesting and fun game, kind of filler game. But yeah, I always wanted to play the first Storm game just to see how it stacks up to the rest of the Storm games, and oh boy, it surprised me. It surprised me in a good way and a bad way. So in this video, we're going to take a little deep dive into this game just to see what this game can offer and how it actually stacks up to the rest of the games, or maybe even how it stacks up to the rest of the PlayStation 2 games, because there are some parallels to some of those games. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video, guys. In total, this game only has two modes, Ultimate Mission mode and Free Battle. Free Battle mode is the versus mode of this game. You're able to select up to 25 available characters, which first need to be unlocked by playing the Ultimate Mission mode, but on that a bit later. You're able to select the character you want and edit the character's Ultimate Jutsus and regular Jutsus. If I'm not mistaken, each character only has two Ultimate and two regular Jutsus, which can be only unlocked by playing the Ultimate Mission mode. This Storm game was the game which introduced assist mechanics. In general, when picking your character, which you're going to use in battle, you're able to select up to two more characters that can help you out in battle. Of course, this is not obligatory, you can also play without these assist characters. This game's fighting system is basically the core of all the Storm games. You're able to run, chakra dash, throw kunais, use your special abilities by using your D-pad, execute jutsus and ultimate jutsus. This was revolutionary at the time when this game came out, since previously the PlayStation 2 counterparts, aka Ultimate Ninja series, were all 2D fighters with less mechanics and worse visuals. The previously mentioned assist mechanics play a huge role in the fights. Want to extend a combo? Get your buddies to help. Are in a tough pickle? Get your buddies to help and interrupt your enemy. As well, whenever you are receiving an ass whooping, your support characters will jump in and try to save you in order for you not to lose more health. The same can be said when you are delivering your awesome combos. Your buddies can jump in and deliver the last blow. This game also introduces wall fights. Yes, wall fights, just like in the anime, where you are able to throw your opponent into a wall and start fighting on it. Sadly, this feature was not brought back for other Storm games. Not sure why, but this was a dope mechanic. Now that we have covered the free battle mode and the fighting system in the most basic form, let's get to the main part of the game, which is the Ultimate Mission mode. When starting this mode, you are given a small recap on what happened before Naruto was born, how the Nine Tails attacked the village, and how the 4th Hokage saved everyone. After the small cutscene, we see Naruto eating with Iruka Sensei at Ichiraku Ramen, and after they are done, we get to control Naruto. In this game mode, you are able to experience the main story of Naruto, but there is a catch. In order for you to experience it, you have to acquire mission experience points in order to unlock each chapter in the main story. In order for you to unlock these points, you have to do side missions first. Yes, you heard me right, the side missions become obligatory if you want to experience the whole story of Naruto. These missions can be acquired by speaking with the mission giver shown on the map. After talking to them, they will give you a mission which can be categorized into 5 ranks: S, A, B, C, and D. Each rank mission gives the player a set of experience points. A rank missions give you around 28 to 29 points, while D rank missions give you only 14 points. At the start of the game, you will mostly get only D to C rank missions, but after progressing in the main story, you will be able to unlock other rank missions. There are also basic missions like playing the game for X amount of hours or walking X amount of steps with Naruto, which give you points as well, but the acquired points are not much. In order to play through the whole Naruto story, you have to gather around 500 points, which might seem a lot, but trust me, it's not. There are multiple types of side missions. We have fighting missions, tree climbing minigame missions, tree branch jumping minigame missions, actually don't know the real name of that, scroll gathering minigame missions, and the most interesting one has to be the Finding Konohamaru minigame missions. Fighting missions are pretty self-explanatory. You fight against the computer with your selected characters while trying to fulfill the battle conditions of the specific fight. Tree climbing minigame missions are actually coming from Naruto Ultimate Ninja 3 on the PlayStation 2. This game had the same tree climbing minigame where you have to run to the top of the tree in time while trying to be faster than your opponent. Tree branch jumping minigame missions are missions where you basically jump from branch to branch trying to avoid branches and paper bombs while trying to get the speed boosts that are placed on the branches in in order to get to your destination in time. There is a small alternative type of this minigame where you have to chase somebody in the given time, where if you get close to them, they will show some objects that can slow you down and fail the mission. The controls on this mode are horrible. The sensitivity of Naruto in this mode is really slow. It feels like controlling a tank. Scroll gathering minigame missions are missions in which you have to use Naruto's free roam ability, the Naruto cannon, that can throw Naruto into far and high places while trying to get the needed amount of scrolls. The most interesting ones are the finding Konohamaru minigame missions, where you have to play hide and seek with Konohamaru in Konoha village. The map is littered with boxes and you have to find Konohamaru in one of these boxes in the given time frame. There are people that can give you hints on where he could be. The map is then updated with the small arrows that show in which location Konohamaru could be hiding. Each rank's hide and seek missions get harder and harder, since then instead of finding Konohamaru you have to also look for Udon and Muegi. I'm sorry if I really mispronounced that. Regarding the main story missions, they consist of 5 arcs: Genin Training Arc, Chunin Exam Arc, Leaf Destruction Arc, Tsunade Search Arc and Chasing Sasuke Arc. These arcs represent almost all of the main arcs that are in Naruto, but with only one exception. They did not include the Land of Waves arc, which I personally consider to be an important arc, since in this arc Naruto has his first QB freakout and Sasuke awakens his single Sharingan. But enough about that. The missions in these are a mixture of fighting missions, tree branch jumping minigame or tree climbing minigame missions. Each arc can have around 7 to 10 missions. Each mission starts with a small set of text that is later preceded with a still frame with some text that Naruto says. No, it really does. It really does.
The first step toward the Rasengan! The road to mastering chakra control!
Okay, sure. Personally, I've felt a bit disappointed that around 90% of the missions have these small still frames, even though the interactions could be animated, which you can't say about the final arc missions. These final arc missions feel like the other Storm Game missions, where for the first time cutscenes are introduced before and after the battle, and in between the action, QuickTime events are introduced. Oi. My reaction time. There are only 4 of these missions, but they are worth it, especially the Naruto vs Sasuke final fight. Sadly, these QuickTime events don't do much, as in the sense that in other Storm games. By doing the QuickTime events fast enough, you're able to gather stars that could show a small cutscene or still frame, which can give you a context of the fight. After completing each main mission, you are able to unlock new characters, new outfits, new side missions which are needed to progress the story, and new jutsus. This game also has a lot of collectibles like figurines, Ultimate Jutsu movies, dioramas. Sadly, in my playthrough I did not try to get the 100% mission completion and all of the collectibles, since for me it felt more like a chore rather than a fun activity. Yep guys, you already know it. Today we will take a look at Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2. Contrary to the first Storm game, I had actually played this game previously and gotten all of the achievements. So before playing this game I already knew what to expect, and now at least I could compare it to the previous Storm game. The way how we are going to do this is as follows. We are going to take a look at each mode that this game gives us and we'll dissect it and see what new has been added since the previous Storm game. In general, this game has 3 modes now: Free Battle, Online Battle and Ultimate Adventure. So why not keep with the previous video's tradition and start with the Free Battle mode. In Free Battle mode, we are able to choose up to 42 characters, of which 2 characters, Killer B and Taka Sasuke, are secret characters that can be unlocked after doing a certain side quest. Another interesting character is the first guest character in the Storm series, and it is Lars. Lars is a character from the fighting game Tekken, which is made by Bandai Namco, the same publisher that released this game. The rest of the roster are comprised of Naruto and all of his friends, teachers, and as well almost all of the Akatsuki members. This game offers us the ability to choose between team battle or single battle. Team battle is basically the same battle that we had in the previous game. We pick our main character and choose up to 2 support characters. Each character has their own support type. The support types can be attack types. These characters will perform a close range attack string during your own and strike back the opponent when they are sent flying. Guard defense types. These characters will guard the user when they are charging chakra or if the opposition chakra dashes at them. Balance types. These characters will perform a joint chakra tool throw with the users and can defend against an ultimate jutsu at the cost of losing the chosen support for the entire round. Single battles are the same battle but only without the assist characters. There is also a new feature named Drive Gouge that replaces the Storm Gouge. Depending on the Drive Gouge, the players are able to unleash devastating team jutsu with the support characters. For example, if the player has the Drive Gouge half full, then if the player does a certain action, the support character will do the previously mentioned actions depending on the chosen type. Additionally, choosing certain support characters with the chosen character can strengthen the attack and defense and give the players a team name. For example, choosing any combination between Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura and Kakashi will be called Team 7. Other than that, the combat is the same. You got your items which can be used with the D-pad. It is possible to use jutsus and ultimate jutsus, substitute from attack of the cost of some chakra, shurikens and so on and so on. The one thing that I noticed at the start is that the ultimate jutsus have been nerfed, in a sense where in the first Storm game we had to input special commands for the jutsus to land and the jutsu animations were longer. Now the ultimate jutsus have been toned down with a shorter cutscene and no inputs. As well, now players have 2 life bars instead of first game's 3 life bars, and ultimate jutsu damage output has been scaled accordingly. The battle mechanics have been improved from the previous Storm game, but a lot of core elements have been left intact. The same cannot be said about the adventure mode of this game. The Ultimate Adventure mode retells the story of Naruto Shippuden starting from the start till the Pain Assault arc. In this section I will go through the story in a way how the game presents it, and along the way I will talk about the new features this game brings. So spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Naruto Shippuden yet, I would suggest that you skip this part in general. Now that is out of the way, let's begin with the prologue. When starting this mode we are introduced with a cutscene, with a brutal one in that, where all of Konoha village has been destroyed and Pain is causing a havoc. Sakura screams in despair for Naruto, and what would you know, he actually shows up. This is a nice bait in order to show what is yet to come in the story. After the cutscene we have an in-game cutscene. Yes, an in-game cutscene where Jiraiya and Naruto finally come back to the village. This is so refreshing seeing an in-game cutscene after the still frames of the first Storm game. They both are interrupted by Sakura that is happy to see Naruto back in the village. After that they go to Tsunada's mansion to say hi and get a new mission going. After the meeting with Sakura, the player is able to control Naruto. This game has a semi-open linear world where the player can only go in a linear path. Naruto is only able to run and jump. This game's free roam, or open world if you can even call that, pales in comparison to the previous game's free roaming. In some of these paths there are objects of interest by which interacting with them Naruto is able to gather some resources. Yes, you heard me right, this game has a crafting mechanic where in ninja shops you are able to request new ninja tools after collecting all of the needed ingredients. Besides the ninja tools shop, there are a ton of shops, but on that a bit later. They both receive a new mission to go and meet Kakashi, who is waiting for them in the training field in order to test them both. Remember the belt challenge they had 3 years ago? Yeah, they're going to do the same thing, but this time all of them have grown. In this section we are introduced with one of the many boss style battles. Each of these battles have some sort of a gimmick to them, about which I will go into detail when we get there. At the start, the fight starts as usual until we deal enough damage to Kakashi that he goes all out and starts attacking us. In this part, the beloved quick time events come in, which when done fast enough you are able to gather stars that after the fight is done give context to the fight and what the characters are feeling at that moment.
They've grown.
After delivering the 1000 years of pain on Kakashi, he gets even more serious and gives us the first gimmick section. In general, all you have to do here is when Kakashi is coming for an attack, just stand on the rocks and then plummet him a bit. He will retreat and do the same thing, sometimes throwing a water dragon jutsu for you to dodge. After hitting him some more, we get another awesome QTE.
They've grown.
and in the end we receive our bells. Another new thing that this game introduces is a battle report, which shows how well you did in the past fight, giving you ranks S, A, B, C or D. These ranks usually are determined by the amount of health you have when finishing the fight, and all that these ranks do are give you multipliers for storm points, which are used to unlock new characters, items and titles. After the fight, Sakura and Naruto go back to the village for some new missions, which are kinda filler but act as a tutorial. One of these missions teaches the player about some cursed dolls that are scattered around the world, which take the role of some of the main characters, but are supposed to be evil. Completing this side quest unlocks a secret chapter that after beating it unlocks Killer B and Taka Sasuke for use. The other side mission is related to the introduction of stores. Across multiple villages there are multiple stores like Bandai Namco General Store, where you can buy collectibles and movies, Ninja Shop, where you can buy ninja tools, Card Shop, where you can buy ninja info cards that can be used online, and a lot of restaurants which can give Naruto a health boost before a fight. Future me here. In the original video I went over the whole game's story only through the way how the game presented it. If you want to see me retell the Storm 2 story, click here. If not, continue on watching. Actually no, the story is not yet finished. After getting all the cursed dolls, the player is able to play another short chapter called the 8 Tails Jinchuriki, in which Sasuke is hunting down Killer B, aka the 8 Tails. They both have two fights, one where B is in normal form and another one in which he is in his tailed beast mode. Sasuke is able to beat him twice and brings his body to the Akatsuki, and with that the story mode ends. After finishing the story, the game still provides some interesting post-game content. The player is able to complete all of the 26 side missions, or as they are called in this game, requests. The player is able to build up multiple friendships in order to witness some interesting and fun friendship events. As well, scattered around the world are multiple scrolls that by collecting unlock story mode cutscenes, battle replays that allow the player to replay specific fights in the story, and memory scrolls or shards that give player the ability to see voiced over still frames which explain the original series plot. Regarding the adventure mode, that's about it. Let's head straight into the last section, which is online battle. In the year 2023, this mode is dead. Nobody plays Storm 2 online. What a shocker, right? Well, at least what I can tell you about this mode is that you are able to use your bot ninja info cards here in order to create your online presence, if you can even call it that. Other than that, this game mode is dry. All in all, this game is a huge upgrade compared to the previous Storm game. The fights are fast-paced, the story mode is superb, and it retells the first part of Naruto Shippuden perfectly. I might have left some details here and there out while going over it, but the game stays true to the source material. The post-story mode activities are a nice touch. There is not a lot of them, but there is enough to keep a Naruto fan happy. I now see why this Storm game is considered by many to be one of the best Storm games out there, and I agree. Replaying this game made me fall in love with this game again. I really enjoyed my time playing this game as much as I enjoyed my time making this video. I hope you enjoyed this small retrospective video. After releasing a banger of a video game that was Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2, Bandai Namco and CyberConnect 2 decided to release a new Naruto game the following year called Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Generations. Checking online, a lot of people praised this game as being goated, by being the best Storm game ever and so on. I myself had played this game around 3 years ago, but have forgotten what this game had to offer. So let's dive deeper to find out what this game has to offer. In general, this game has multiple modes: story mode, free battle, online battle, shop, and collections. As usual, let's start with this game's free battle and see how the fighting mechanics work in this game. This game's free battle mode has to be one of the best free battle modes so far. Starting off, this mode now offers 4 new modes, like versus battle, survival, tournament, and training. Versus battle mode offers the standard player versus computer, player versus player, and the new addition of computer versus computer battles, where you are able to spectate a match between two bots. Going further, we can again choose to have a 1v1 fight or team battles. The character pool compared to Storm 2 has been increased. Now players are able to play with around 72 playable characters, of which few of the characters do have alternative costumes with different ultimates. Additionally to these playable characters, there are now support-only characters that can be used only as support characters. This concept was later brought back as well for future Storm games. In the character pool we have all the main cast of Naruto, all the Akatsuki members, all of the past Hokages, kid versions of Kakashi and Obito. Talking about kid versions, this game now allows the players to use the kid versions of our beloved Naruto characters. Just like in the previous Storm game, by selecting specific characters you are able to create a team, to which a specific name is given. Example, if we choose the second, the first and the third Hokage, we will get the team called Past Hokages. In the same sense, if we pick specific characters, we are able to upgrade our battle stats, which can change the tide of the battle. The same assist character types make a return: attack, defense and balance types. In the same sense, the beloved drive gauge makes a return. Once the drive gauge has been filled to 50% by calling out your support characters as much as possible, each specific support type can do some extra actions. Attack type characters will hop on and help you deliver some extra hits while you are doing a combo. In the same sense, they will deliver extra damage if the enemy is flying. Balance type characters will help you out by throwing ninja tools with you, and they will sacrifice themselves if the enemy uses an ultimate jutsu. Sadly, that comes with a cost where you are no longer able to use that support character for the rest of the battle. Defensive type characters will block enemy kunais, chakra dashes, and as well will block the enemy while you are recharging your chakra. Once the drive gauge is at 100%, the player is able to perform a team ultimate jutsu on which each character jumps in to do extra damage before the player character is able to use his ultimate jutsu. Talking about ultimate jutsus, the jutsus for the characters that were in Storm 2 are pretty much the same. They are two characters that do the same ultimate jutsu, but depending on the opponent, the jutsus are changed a bit. When young Hinata uses her ultimate jutsu on young Naruto, she becomes embarrassed when she sees that she's on top of Naruto and jumps farther away than usual. A similar event will happen if Karin uses her ultimate jutsu on any Shippuden version of Sasuke, where instead of mocking the opponent for being sloppy, she runs to his side and glances obsessively over him before backing up. Before starting a battle, it is now possible to customize your character. The customization is really limited, but now you are able to change your substitution logs to the ones you have bought from the store, and now you are able to create your own preset ninja tool items that can be used in battle. Actually, talking about substitutions, remember how in the previous game you could substitute by using chakra, right? Now this game introduced a new resource bar, the substitution bar, in which each player can now substitute 4 times in a row without using their chakra. But spamming the substitution button is not advised, since if you run out of substitutions, you are out of luck. The enemy can do anything he wants. The substitution bar refills itself after you have received some amount of damage. Another new thing that was introduced in this game is the new Chakra Dash combo breakers, not sure if that is the real name. In general, now you are able to extend your combos, where by in the middle of a combo you can Chakra Dash at your opponent and start the combo again, which can deal extra amount of damage. Doing that, plus using a jutsu at the end, can lead to critical damage. As well, you are able now to dash/Chakra Dash to enemies that are in the air as well. Thanks to these new aforementioned features, this game now feels a lot faster than previously. The movement has been updated as well, where now you are able to jump from side to side without stopping. Talking about other modes, the survival mode of this game is split into multiple ranks: introductory, beginner, intermediate, advanced and ultimate survival, where in each rank there are multiple types of battles, and in which of those there could be up to 10 battles. Each rank basically acts as a difficulty level, where ultimate level is the hardest and introductory is the easiest. By completing each rank you are able to unlock the next rank. The same thing works for the types inside of the ranks. After beating a rank, the player is presented by a small victory screen. After that we have the tournament mode, which consists of challenge tournament and battle tournament. Challenge tournaments are basically already pre-created tournaments in which the player can fight. These tournaments follow the same principle, where there are multiple ranks of the tournaments, where each rank is a higher difficulty than the last, and inside of these tournaments there are more tournament types. Complete all types to unlock a new tournament rank. After beating a tournament, a small victory screen is presented as well. Battle tournament allows you to create your own tournament with up to 8 characters in a tournament. As well, after each match the player again is presented with a battle results screen, just like in the previous Storm game. The only exception is that here, instead of collecting SP points, players now get a multiplier for their money, which can be used in the shop section. There are multiple ranks again: S, A, B and C. Each rank has their own money multiplier. All in all, that is all about the battle mechanics and what the free battle mode brings. Let's jump into the main part, which is the story mode. The story mode is not like anything we have seen previously. This game's story mode does not have any free roaming or anything. Instead, the story mode is split into 11 chapters, where each chapter focuses on one specific character. The characters are Shippuden Naruto, Young Naruto, Shippuden Sasuke, Jiraiya, Zabuza and Haku, Itachi, Gaara, Kakashi, Minato, Madara/Akatsuki, and Killer Bee. Each of these stories start up with a new custom-made anime cutscenes and end the same with the custom-made anime cutscenes. The anime cutscenes for the story mode of the game were produced by Studio Pierrot, who are in charge of the anime. They worked very closely with CyberConnect 2 to create a new content that is considered anime canon with totally new scenes and new interpretations for the old ones with major or minor changes. The one exception is Killer Bee, where instead of having an anime cutscene we have a small music video in which Killer Bee raps about his opponents, and after each fight the opponent dances as a background dancer for Killer Bee. Some anime cutscenes of the game differ from the original anime scenes. Not only are the scenes changed, but also the coloring and lighting of some of the techniques are also slightly changed. For all cutscenes there is rarely any blood. After the starting cutscene, you are told the story of the character through still frames which are from the anime. The still frames are fully voiced. The story goes on until a battle is happening in which you are only controlling the story character. After the battle, the story is again shown with still frames. This cycle repeats itself until you have finished the story and an anime ending cutscene is shown. The story is focused on the most important battles of the character's story. Each story has around 4 to 5 fights, except for young Naruto, Shippuden Naruto and Shippuden Sasuke, where they have around 11 fights each. The Madara Uchiha story doesn't focus on Madara only, but more on the Akatsuki as a whole and presents the player the battles which the Akatsuki have gone through. After completing one story, you automatically unlock the following story mode. Additionally to that, while playing through all of these stories, the player is able to unlock all of the characters that can be used in free battle, new items in the shop like ninja info cards, titles, substitution logs and battle items. It is possible to complete the story mode in around 3 to 4 hours. The next thing on our list is to check out the online battle section. In the online battle section, we are able to do multiple things. The player is able to play player matches, which are the equivalent to casual matches, and play ranked matches. Of course, since this game came out 11 years ago, nobody is playing this mode on the PlayStation 3. The casual section is also split into multiple subcategories. Beginner battle, where beginners can find other beginners and try to learn the game without getting their asses handed to them. Endless, where you battle multiple opponents until you lose. An online tournament has been added that works just like the free battle tournament. Besides fighting online, the player is able to update his online presence. Just like in Storm 2, we can edit our title and ninja info cards that can be bought from the shop or unlocked by playing the main story. In this game, the ninja info cards work a bit differently. Each info card gives the player a small boost. It can boost for attack, defense or even extra damage for support characters. Now that is done, let's head on to the shop section. In the shop section, as you can see here, we can buy multiple things. The player is able to buy the previously mentioned substitution logs that can be changed when playing online or in pre-battle mode. For online, we can buy unlocked titles that change the online presence titles, and the aforementioned ninja info cards, as I already mentioned, have some online buffs to them. For free battle and online, here we can buy some ninja tools which we can use later in a free battle or online battles. In the last section, we are able to buy some still frames from all of the story missions. The images are split by playable characters, so unlocking for example Shippuden Naruto's images, we are able to see all of the still frames from his story. Now that we had our shopping spree, let's head out to our collection to see what we have gotten. In the Collections tab, we are able to see all of the items that can be bought in the shop. Substitution items, ninja info cards, ninja tools and images. As well, in this section we are able to see ultimate jutsus. In order to unlock all of the jutsus, you have to first execute them with a specific character. Another interesting thing is that we are able to watch all of the story mode anime cutscenes here as well. Of course, in order for you to unlock them, you have to play the main story first. Even though this game lacks a normal story mode, the game compensates it by introducing revolutionary changes to the gameplay that are still being used today. The new substitution system and the combo cancelling make the gameplay feel more fluid. This is the Storm game where the fast-paced action we see in the future games was born. As well, they compensate for the story mode by adding more and interesting free battle modes which are possible to play solo or online. In the end, I enjoyed replaying the game again after 3 years. I always considered this game as a Storm filler game, in that sense that there is no story mode that is retelling the current events of the show, like Storm 1, Storm 2, Storm 3 and especially how Storm 4 does it. It was refreshing to have these fast-paced fights again after playing through Storm 1 and Storm 2, which to me felt a little bit off since I was previously used to this type of gameplay. A year had passed after releasing the first Storm filler game, that was Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Generations, and on March 5th, 2013, CC2 and Bandai Namco released the banger of a video game that was Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. Does this game stack up to the modern Storm games and offers a great experience? Or is it just a rehash from the previous Storm games? Let's find out, shall we? But before we do that, 96% of my viewers are not subscribed. So what are you waiting for? Do it before Bandai Namco and CC2 release another masterpiece like Storm Connections. As usual, in the free battle section we have almost the same options as we had in the previous Storm games. We have versus battle tournament mode, which comes from Storm Generations, and practice mode. As usual, in the versus battle we can fight against a CPU or a player too. We can choose if we want to fight solo or as a team. The character pool is rather large. In this game we have around 80 playable characters and 7 support only characters. Almost each character in this game has an alternative costume through which we can cycle. As well, just like in the previous and upcoming games, we have multiple versions of Naruto and Sasuke that just pad the character pool. Once a character has been selected, we are given the opportunity to select a teammate. Usually, once picking a character, the game will sometimes give you an appropriate teammate that makes sense story-wise. For example, if you pick Haku, the game will give the option to automatically select Zabuza, which would form the team named Mist Assassins. Of course, this can be ignored and you can select any teammate you want. As well, once you select a teammate, you can now choose which type of a teammate it will be. The characters are no longer locked in a single support type. In this game we have around 40 new stages. Most of the stages are stages from the previous Storm games with some additional new stages. In this game some stages have a gimmick to them. There are stages like the Final Valley, where we are able to throw our opponent out of the arena and win the match without finishing the fight. Around the stage there is this dome-like field which can be broken. If you use a character that can launch, like Hinata, you are able to throw your opponent into the dome field and break it. Though, you have to do this 2 times in order to destroy the dome, and then do it 1 more time to throw your opponent out of the ring and win. Not sure if this feature was useful online, but it's a useful mechanic in single player. Talking about stages, there are some stages like the Konoha village, where there are objects present in the stage, where after the pen attack, for example, the Konoha village is being rebuilt, and in this stage you can see multiple boxes scattered on the field, which can give a tactical advantage. Of course, these boxes can be destroyed, but that's a pretty neat feature to complement. Makes the arena feel more alive than usual. Regarding the fighting mechanics, nothing much has changed after Storm Generations. We have our substitution bar, which in this game felt for me to recharge faster than it did in Generations. We have the same tool systems using the D-pads, attacking is and feels pretty much the same. Only thing that I noticed was that for me at least, the fighting felt a bit faster than it was in Generations. In Generations the fighting was fast-paced, but here it was even faster. Now during the fights we are able to double jump, which can be helpful in order to dodge some jutsus or attacks. As well, in this game our support characters have a health bar around them. If you summon teammate and the teammate gets hit by an attack, the teammate will lose some health. Once its health drops to 0, he is no longer usable. The assist types work the same as they did in the previous games. Defensive types will guard you from shurikens and dashes, attack types will help you extend combos, and balance types will help you with shurikens. Another feature that was implemented was this new mechanic called relay. Upon holding the basic attack button, the user jumps backwards and flashes yellow, different from the spark cancel. Spending some chakra. Releasing the button from there causes them to break into a dash, after which we are able to use our support characters for a team combo. Now, in the battle, once the opponent is in low health state, we are able to execute an ultimate jutsu finish, where, by using our ultimate jutsus, we are shown a small screenshot from the anime and the character talking before finishing the fight. Regarding the other modes of free battle, we have a tournament mode, which is inspired by the last Storm game. The tournament modes is split into 3 parts. Free tournament, which we basically can create our own tournament with 4 or 8 characters. Perpetual change tournament. This is the same tournament as the last one, but with a twist, where before each battle, specific battle conditions are given that can impact the fight, like having a damage buff but it switched places between players, losing some chakra over time, etc. Challenge tournament. This is the same thing we had in Generations, where we have a set of predefined tournaments with predefined characters, where each tournament is harder than the last one. Ultimate Adventure mode is the main part of this game. In this mode we can relive the story of Naruto Shippuden, starting from the aftermath of the Pain Destruction arc and ending it with the start of the 4th Great Ninja War. When starting this mode you are already thrown into the main story retelling. In total, the story mode consists of 9 chapters. The prologue, which again represents the Ninetales attack on the Konoha village. Chapter 1, which depicts the events of the 5 Kage Summit. Chapter 2 depicts the events after the 5 Kage Summit when Naruto fought Sasuke afterwards. Chapter 3 represents the arc when Naruto went to the Turtle Island. Chapter 4 portrays how Naruto controlled Kuruma's chakra. Chapter 5 depicts how Kabuto infiltrated the Turtle Island. Chapter 6 shows the start of the 4th Shinobi War. Chapter 7 shows the most iconic fights of the war. Chapter 8 depicts Naruto finding out about the war, and Chapter 9 depicts the introduction of Madara. And of course the last chapter, which is a filler chapter where Naruto and Killer Bee fight against Tobi, who is controlling the remaining 7-tailed beasts and their hosts. Each chapter consists of multiple fights with multiple in-game cutscenes and in-game dialogue scenes, where in the chapter's end there is a boss battle of sorts. Yes, this game has boss battles. The boss battles can be a fight with our beloved QTE sequences, where by getting enough stars we are able to see a hidden memory that gives us more context to the battle. As well, in this game there are boss battles, as in huge monster-like boss battles. An example would be Chapter 7, where there is a sequence where Choji is fighting the huge Ghetto statue. You have to dodge its attacks in order to deal damage to it. It's a bit gimmicky, but these types of fights look and feel awesome. There are other chapters where this type of boss battles are present. In some story battles there are these hidden secret factors that can be achieved by doing a specific action at a specific moment. Remember that thing from Storm 2 when Sasuke and Itachi threw shurikens at the same time a small animation played? Yeah, in this game the devs gave the players small hints on when and where these secret factors can be achieved. An example would be Kakashi vs Zabuza, where when Zabuza attacks and Kakashi uses his substitution jutsu, a small cutscene appears where Kakashi attacks Zabuza just like he did in the anime. What differentiates this story mode from Storm 2 is also that in this game, the game gives you an option on how to tackle certain battles in the ways of hero or legends paths. Hero option is basically the easy way to handle a situation, but the legend option gives the player a small challenge when dealing with the situation. Example could be when Guy, Lee and Sakura have to fight the 7 ninja swordsmen. The hero path in this situation would be to split them up and fight them 1v1. The legend path is to fight them all at once, which would initiate a mob battle. Yeah, you heard me right, this game has mob battles. Basically what these are fights where you're up against multiple enemies at the same time. It might sound scary, but it's not. You are able to use your jutsus and support as well. While fighting mobs of enemies, you are filling up your storm gauge. When it's full, you can execute an attack that will attack each enemy once and it will deal a great amount of damage to them. But that is if you don't miss any of the QTE button prompts. As well, when defeating an enemy, a button prompt will appear that will allow you to teleport to the next enemy to deal damage. Fun fact, this mob battle type is heavily presented in Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Impact, which was created for PSP players to enjoy the story of Naruto as well. Might have to make a video on it someday. This game also introduces a new ninja tool management system. Now the tools are separated into 2 categories, Legend and Hero. Legend category ninja tools are ninja tools that focus more on dealing damage to the enemy, like paper bombs, kunais, etc. Where Hero category on the other hand focuses more on defensive tools like health potions, chakra potions and buffs. At the start we are able to carry only one of each item in both sections. Depending on the paths you take in the story mode, you are able to level up the Hero or Legend categories, where by doing so it will increase the amount of tools that can be used in battle. Compared to Storm 2, this story mode is rather long and it will take around 7 to 8 hours to complete. The way the story is presented to the player is similar to Storm 2, but it's better. For starters, now you don't have to travel the world in order to initiate the next main story scene. Now each chapter throws the player in a specific area and gives the player directions on where to go and what to do in order to progress the story. There are no filler side missions that are needed to be completed. All of the in-game dialogues for the story mode are voiced. As well, this game relies heavily on in-game cutscenes, which I like, since Storm 2 used to have more in-game dialogues rather than the cutscenes. The story's most crucial moments are presented with an in-game cutscene. After the story mode has been completed, the player is thrown into the free world. After finishing the story, there are a lot of things the player can do. Just like in Storm 2, there are multiple side quests that can be tackled. As well, the friendship system is brought back, where by completing quests for a specific person, you are able to fill up their friendship meter, where when filling it to the max, you can see a small friendship event, just like in Storm 2. The main thing about this mode is the Ninja World timeline, which allows us to fight all of the important fights of OG Naruto and the first part of Shippuden. Of course, these battles are just regular 1v1s, but there are also some details given before the battle to give more context. There are some missions like Residual Chakra Collection, which is a quest where Naruto has to collect these blue crystals in order to receive an award. By completing each milestone of crystals, the player is given a reward. After completing this quest, a strange purple crystal is shown in the world. Once you interact with it, we get yet another chapter, a secret chapter, that is called Internal Mangekyo. This chapter is rather quick. This chapter takes place, if I am not mistaken, a bit after Naruto's and Sasuke's encounter after the 5 Karaha summit. This chapter depicts Sasuke trying to leave Tobi/Madara's hideout in order to enact revenge on the Leaf, but White Zetsu is trying to stop him. This chapter is split into 2 sections, a mob battle where we fight multiple White Zetsus until we reach our goals, a 1v1 fight with Tobi who is trying to stop Sasuke, which in the end turns out to be Zetsu imitating Tobi. After the fight, Sasuke kills White Zetsu and leaves the hideout, and with that the small chapter ends. Well, the online mode of this game doesn't add anything new from the last games. We have our regular ranked, player matches and tournaments. Here, as it is a tradition, we can edit our ninja info, cards and titles. Of course, the feature from Generations, where the titles and cards give some special buffs, is not existent. I actually tried to find a match on this game. I waited for around 3 minutes plus minus until a person popped up. Yes! For the first time while doing these retrospectives, I was able to experience an online battle. But there was a catch. As soon as we wanted to play, I got disconnected. I guess that's the Storm Online experience for you, but I wasn't about to give up. So I tried again, and after some time, I again matched with the same player. Only this time we got into the match, and oh boy, I can tell you that it wasn't a pleasant experience. Since I am from the EU and my opponent was from Asia, the connection was ass. It lagged so hard that it took 2 seconds from me doing a command and it being registered in the game. If I wanted to win this battle, I had to think 2 seconds ahead. Of course, during this match we got throttled pretty hard. In the end, my opponent gave me an ultimate jutsu finisher, but just before he could end me, the game DC'd. And no, I didn't do anything, the match just died. I was happy that I was able to play someone online on an older Storm game, but the experience was awful. And yes, I am playing the PlayStation 3 version of this game, so it was a shock for me to see someone online in 2024. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first Storm game that introduced DLCs. I sadly have none of these DLCs, but if you own the full burst PS3 game or the PlayStation 4 title, you have all of the costumes, the new missions, a new playable character and the new story chapter. The story chapter is awesome. I remember playing it like 10 years ago and it was great. It had one of the hardest fights, but once you beat it, the feeling of doing it finally was rewarding. And of course the ending to the chapter is heartbreaking. I would lie, that moment made me cry a bit. All in all, this game is awesome. The story mode in my opinion has been improved. No more running from A to B just to start a new story section. The animations are smooth. The in-game cutscenes give justice to the source material. The battle mechanics are pretty much the same from Generations, except with some small additions. But hey, why fix it if it ain't broke? The post-story mode content is there. It's not rich, but there is plenty of stuff to do. Can't tell much about online, since my experience with it was dreadful. Hope it wasn't like this at this game's peak. I enjoyed replaying this and had a lot of fun with it. In my opinion, it's a big step up from Storm 2, story-wise at least.
I want to destroy, but then I want to rebuild. A village without darkness. I'll reform the shinobi world. Do you understand what I'm talking about? It's revolution.
Revolution, you say?
Yeah, the so-called Revolution was released on September 11, 2014 for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. This is another filler Storm game just like Storm Generations. Supposedly, this game has introduced some new battle mechanics and new game modes, but is it really the case? Let's take a look. Okay, there's a lot to cover in this game, so let's start with the interesting one, the Ninja Escapades. Ninja Escapades is a mode in which we relive 3 different stories with new specially created anime scenes from the anime creators of Naruto, Studio Pierrot. The stories are about how the Akatsuki was created, a small story revolving around Shisui Uchiha trying to stop the Uchiha coup, and a quick short story revolving around Minato, Kushina, Tobi, Kakashi and Rin. The principle is simple. You select a mode and watch a small animated scene. Once in that scene there is a battle commencing, you take the role of the main character in that scene and battle. During these battles nothing special happens, it's just a regular 1v1 fight. Only during the fighting the characters will talk to each other and that's all. Each chapter is shorter than the last one. In the Akatsuki storyline you will fight 5 times, in the Shisui storyline you only fight 2 times, and in the last chapter you won't fight at all, it's just a short anime. The animations for this mod look superb, even better than the Shippuden anime itself. I was stunned by how good the characters look. You could see that Studio Pierrot worked really hard on these animations. I mean, just look at this.
However, this is the end.
Is it just me or are that like village signs really small in this anime?
You should take a good look at yourself.
They even made a special OVA, which you could receive if you got a day 1 edition of Storm Revolution. The OVA is Sunny Side Battle, which involves Sasuke and Itachi. The animations on it are awesome as well. I recommend that you watch it here on YouTube. Okay, enough backtracking, let's head into the next game mode, which is the Ninja World Tournament. This is the mode which was hyped the most when this game was promoted. Essentially, the idea is that every character in Naruto just forgets about the war and they all decide to host a big ass tournament to decide which character is the strongest shinobi in the world. The tournament is hosted on this remote island in which you are carried by boat, but before you get to the island, you have to select a character which you will play as. Once coming to the island, you are greeted by Shizune, who explains the premises of the tournament. Basically, there are 6 different ranked tournaments to take part in. There are D, C, B, A, S and S+ tournaments, where in each rank the difficulty of the opponents gets harder. The last rank is just a glorified monster fight. After the introduction, you are free to roam the island. Of course, when starting, most of the island will be closed until you reach the higher ranks of the tournament mode. On this island, you are able to use the shops to buy items, use this lottery wheel in which you are able to earn interesting prizes. There as well are side missions that you kinda have to do, kinda not. In general, these side missions are there for you to complete in order to unlock new participants for the tournament. If you are asking why, I'll tell you in a bit. Once you complete the side quest, you unlock these characters for use in the tournament. If you like this type of content, please subscribe and like the video. That will encourage me to make even more videos like this. But anyhow, alright, you are now all set and you start to take part in the tournament. The tournament consists of 3 stages: the entrance battles, preliminaries, and the final battle. Each stage can consist of 1 battle or right up to 4 battles. The previously mentioned side quests come in handy because if a stage has 4 battles, you cannot use the same character for each battle. For each battle, you use different characters, so that's why it is kinda mandatory to do these side missions, but not all of them. The battle mechanics in the tournament itself are interesting. You are thrown into a fatal 4x battle just like in WWE, in which instead of defeating the enemies, you are given these points. Each time you attack or are attacked, these orbs will fly out of you or of your opponents, just like Sonic but only with rings. The main idea is to gather as many orbs as possible in a given time frame. The character with the most orbs at the end wins the battle or the tournament, depending on the battle count. If there are multiple battles, then the collected orbs are given to the next character to battle with. The controls and fighting are the same as we have in the regular battles. Only difference is that you can now lock onto your enemies and then go ham on them. The starting tournaments are easy, but once you get further in the ranks, they become more challenging, especially when all of the enemies decide to gang up on you, and instead of making it a free-for-all, they make it a 3-on-1 handicap match. The crazier and stronger jutsus you do, the more points you're able to shake out of your enemies. Jutsus can grant you around 300 points, while regular combos can give you around 100 points. When progressing the ranks, new elements will appear like awakening orbs. Tonton will run around the battlefield with these blue orbs, which when picked up can allow you to go into awakening mode and attack everyone. Ultimate jutsu orbs. These red orbs when picked up can allow you to use ultimate jutsus on one of the opponents, dealing massive amounts of damage and earning you a lot of orbs. Oh boy, in the later ranks you have to watch out for enemies that spawn and do AoE damage, these traps all around the field and these huge bombs. As well, in the later parts of the tournament you are introduced to these rails in which characters will jump on and slide through them as if they were in a Tony Hawk game. There are 2 rails. Side rails basically allow you to either spam a jutsu or charge up a jutsu that will be executed at the end of the rail. Up rails basically launch your character in the air and allow you to do an AoE attack that can hit multiple enemies. It is best that you use them as much as possible for more damage. If, for example, you deplete a character from all points, you're able to knock them out of the round. If you do that to all 3 enemies, the match ends and the next match starts. Once you win the specific rank tournament, the mode ends and that's it. If you want to play the next ranks, you again have to select a character and get by boat onto the island. If you want to see the true ending, you have to do this 6 times. 6 freaking times of the same tedious game process. Get on island, fight multiple matches, which can take up to 1 hour, and then do it all again. If you are still interested after each rank, you are able to do 6 more smaller tournaments that have a small stipulation to them. Once you have completed the first rank of this mode, you unlock another storyline, the Mecha Naruto storyline, in which the new character Mecha Naruto is introduced. This character was specifically made for this game by series author Masashi Kishimoto. The plot is basically that Naruto and Hinata find a strange robot who looks like Naruto. They take him in and try to befriend him. Mecha Naruto falls in love with Hinata, while the real Naruto dislikes Mecha Naruto. While doing some chores in the village, Mecha Naruto gets jealous of Naruto that he is so beloved in the village, while he is despised because of his looks. So Mecha Naruto does the sanest thing and switches bodies with Naruto. Mecha Naruto then goes to hang out with Hinata. The real Naruto is shocked and surprised about all of this, and he tries to convince his friends that he is the real Naruto. After doing doing some chores, all of Naruto's friends believe Naruto and say that they will help him get his body back. In the final battle of the Great Ninja Tournament, Naruto and Mecha Naruto face off, where in the end they both switch back places. After Mecha Naruto hears that people still like Naruto even in his Mecha Naruto body. In the end, Naruto beats Mecha Naruto and wins this crystal shard. This crystal shard actually is needed by Mecha Naruto because his brain has a huge crystal in it, but there is a chunk missing of it. Naruto gives the crystal to Mecha Naruto, after which the darker side of Mecha Naruto, the QB mode, takes control over him. It turns out that Mecha Naruto destroyed the crystal on purpose so that the QB mode doesn't take over him, since Mecha Naruto was created with an idea that Mecha Naruto would be the one to gather information and QB mode would be the one who would go berserk. After that, Mecha Naruto flies and goes on a rampage destroying the world. Naruto and his friends go after him and stop him. After catching and defeating him with the help of Ino, Naruto and Hinata are transported into Mecha Naruto's consciousness and fight off the bigger version of QB mode, which for a strange reason has a funny laugh sub.
To suffer anymore.
Why do they write hahaha in googie googie gigi? Why? After defeating him, he activates a self-destruction mode which cannot be stopped. Hinata and Naruto are brought back to the real world and try to escape the blast. But as soon as Mecha Naruto is about to explode, Naruto tries to stop him. This scene was a really emotional moment and I almost shed a tear for Mecha Naruto. The animations are superb in this filler story. Okay. Wow, okay, the animations for this
Even if
small
your body
story
is
is
gone.
pretty good as well.
I'll save that mind of yours. I won't give up. I can't give up.
Oh, the small sparkles in his eyes. After the explosion, Mecha Naruto is dead and is gone. All that is left is the memory crystal. Naruto and friends all decide to put the crystal in a puppet of Mecha Naruto. Mecha Naruto is now alive. He can't move, but he is somehow able to speak. After that happy ending, the story ends. While battling through the tournaments, you're able to earn these tokens which can be used to buy customization items for your characters. Yeah, this Storm game introduces customization and it is a great feature. You're able to create some interesting character designs by buying these items. There are a lot of items for the head, arms and back. If you are a creative person, you could create some really cool designs, unlike me. Okay, the mods are all cool and all, but what about the battle mechanics, the real ones? Well, in general, the flow of the game is in general the same. The things that have changed are that the fighting seems faster, again, in my opinion. Now, guard break is an item which you can use 2 times in a battle and the new beloved addition of counterattacks is introduced. Basically, if you press the guard button and the shuriken button at the same time, you freeze for a second. If in the time frame an opponent attacks you, you stun the opponent and can deal a lot of damage to them. This new addition was so spammed when this game was at its peak, it was crazy. Another new interesting addition is the new team ultimate jutsus. Yeah, now when you select the correct teammates, you are able to unleash a team ultimate jutsu. Some jutsus look better than the other ones, like Madara and Obito's.
Obito!
Good night, see you, man.
It's you as usual. Don't get cocky. This is
A new addition as well is the new battle types. Once you have selected your team, you can select which type you want to be. Ultimate Jutsu types allows you to use the ultimate jutsus on your opponents. Awakening type allows you to use 2 types of awakenings. There is the Stealth Awakening where by flicking the analog stick, you're in this quick awakening that will drain your total chakra amount. Once the amount is depleted, it will turn you back to the normal state. Over time, the chakra bar will refill itself and you can do it again. Then there is the True Awakening, which can be done once the drive gauge is full, giving you even more powerful attacks or even a new body. Drive types basically combine all of the previous support types like attack, defense and utility type ones into one. This is an annoying type to fight against because the supports will hinder you from attacking almost all the time. As well, when the gauge is full, you can do this small jutsu which you can seal your opponent away by sealing its chakra, substitution bar and not allowing the enemy to use ultimate jutsus. In the free battle modes, there are 2 interesting modes like survival and league. Survival, as the name implies, basically means beat as many opponents opponents with the same health bar as you can. After each battle, your health is regenerated depending on how well you did in the fight. There are as well predefined survival battles which are categorized in multiple stages of difficulty. League is a 4-man bingo fight where you battle each opponent once, and after all of the battles are done, the person with the most points wins the league. There are as well predefined leagues with multiple difficulty levels. Holy moly, this game has a roster of 118 characters. Since when this game came out, the manga was still in a war arc, so basically all of the characters are playable here. Loads of Narutos, Sasuke's, all of the Akatsuki's, and so on. Some new characters like Onomaru, Iruka Sensei, and Kushina make their debut. Of course, Mecha Naruto is also playable. When playing through the modes, you are able to unlock alternative costumes for some characters, like school uniforms for Sasuke and Sakura, and so on. I'll be honest, I was not able to find anyone online to play, and I think that's a good thing, since I would be hammered by everyone there. The modes are all the same as they were in the last game. The only new mode is the Ninja World War mode, which I didn't quite understand how it works, but you basically make a lobby and then wait for people to join and fight. I joined one of these lobbies, but they both were AFK, so I left. If you have ever played this and can tell me more about this, let me know in the comments below. Okay, this game has introduced a lot of interesting and questionable game mechanics. The Ninja Escapade is an awesome mode solely for the game only anime scenes. The Ninja World Tournament, how should I say this, is the most boring mode ever created in a Storm game. Don't get me wrong, the premise is interesting, but the execution is just too damn repetitive. You do the same thing over and over and over again. Plus, the latter half of the ranks, the AI gets really annoying and hard when they all try to focus you. Would I recommend replaying it? Sure, but maybe only for online if you want to play with friends, or just for the Ninja Escapades mode. During these past few months, I've been playing through all of the Storm games, and today comes the next contender, Storm 4. Storm 4 was released on February 4th, 2016 for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. A lot of people in the Naruto community said that Storm 4 is one of the best games in the series. But is it really the case? To find out, we'll dive deep into each game mode and dissect everything the mode gives. But before we do that, let's talk about the important parts of this game, the battle mechanics. The core battle mechanics from Revolution have been brought back with some minor nerfs here and there. For example, in this game, the air chakra dash has been nerfed, making it slower than in Revolution. The beloved counter-attack has been nerfed as well. Now, instead of stunning the opponent is knocked back a few meters. For this game, CC2 introduced a new mechanic called Leader Swap. In essence, if you have some teammates with you in battle, with a flick of the right analog stick, you're able to change places with one of your teammates. By doing so, the previous main character is brought to the teammate screen and is in a recharge state in order to switch back to it. If you are doing a combo and do a leader swap, the new teammate will dash at the enemy, giving the opportunity to extend the combo. Another new feature is that once you go into an awakened state, the teammates as well go into an awakened state. This allows you to switch back and forth between the characters in awakened state. Actually, talking about awakening states, thankfully CC2 got rid of the horrendous ultimate jutsus and awakening types and have made it so that each character is able to use an ultimate jutsu and be able to have an awakening. Now, each character has its own support type. We no longer have 3 types that we had in the previous games. Now we have Strike Back. Basically, once the opponent is in the air, your support will deliver an extra hit. Charge Assist. When recharging your chakra, a teammate will hop out and allow you to recharge chakra faster. Cover Fire. Basically throw shurikens with you. Dash Cut. If an enemy dashes at you, your support will jump into the enemy and disrupt the dash. Break Guard. Once your guard is broken, your support will try and block some attacks. Charge Guard. When you are recharging chakra, a teammate will block any frontal attacks. Another interesting cosmetic feature which was added was the Armor Break. Essentially, once you have received a certain amount of damage, your character's armor will be broken and the character will start to lose chunks of clothes during the battle. For example, this is Kakashi before the Armor Break, and this is him now after the Armor Break. Makes the battles feel a bit more immersive. The same thing applies with effects like fire. You can see the fire staying onto the enemy's clothes. During the battles, we are now able to earn ninja treasures. These ninja treasures are essentially items that can be used to get new titles, info cards, and costumes. In order to unlock these items, you have to gather a specific amount of specific elements. You are able to earn these treasures during the regular battles as well as fulfilling conditions during the story mode. One thing that was added which I don't like is that in free battle/online, once a round is over, the health bar doesn't recharge for the winner of the round. This time, if you win with 50% health, for example, you then have to play with the 50% health in the next round. I think that Storm 4 is the only fighting game that has this feature. The roster for this game is just stacked. 106 characters are playable in total. If you include the DLCs, which we'll talk a bit later, the roster goes up even higher. Sadly, again, the issue with having multiple types of one character is present, like Naruto. Most of the characters are just imports from previous Storm games, which makes sense. But alongside that, we have some newer playable characters, which are story related. At the start, some of these characters will be locked. To unlock them, you have to do the story mode of this game. The story mode in this game takes a whole different approach to storytelling. Previously, in the last two main Storm games, we had the semi-open areas in which we could traverse through and could progress the story. This time CC2 said screw that and introduced this chapter timeline. In this timeline, we are able to witness the story starting from the middle of the Great Ninja War and finish it off with the end of Naruto. This game actually gave the fans the ending faster than the anime, since the anime was still stuck with fillers at that point. The timeline is actually pretty long and it will take you around 3 to 4 hours to complete the whole story. When progressing through the timeline will sometimes diverge into two paths, which will allow you to play from different characters' perspectives. As well as that, there are some minor side stories which are actually canon, but are not needed to be completed in order to progress the story. If you like this type of content, please subscribe. It will motivate me to continue the ongoing Naruto game series. The visuals in the story mode are just superb whenever they are shown. I am saying that because 60% of the story is represented with these still images from the anime with voice lines. This rubbed me the wrong way, because in the previous Storm games, CC2 never resorted to retelling the story with anime still frames. The reason for the still frames was that CC2 didn't have enough time to create CGI cutscenes for all of the story parts, so they mostly focused their efforts for the ending chapters and some chapters in between. But when they do these cutscenes, CC2 are just cooking. Take a look at this opening fight with Mother and Hashirama. The animation and details in these scenes are just superb. The flow of the story at the start is rather slow. This is all thanks to the anime still frames being uninteresting and some chapters focusing on the past events, like how Obito was left for dead. Talking about this chapter, in this chapter and a few other chapters, there is a possibility to have wall fights. Outside of the specific story fights, wall fights are not introduced back into the regular battles, which is a shame and a weird thing to add for just a few missions. The story consists of multiple battles, where at the chapter's end you have to fight one or multiple bosses. Some of these bosses are the regular 1v1s with some highly detailed CGI quicktime events. My favorite is, and always will be, the Madara vs Guy CGI scene. That scene gave me goosebumps. On the other hand, the bosses can be these giant monster-like battles like Madara vs Sasuke in their Susanoo forms. The majority of these fights have some kind of a gimmick to them. The most notable of them all is Team 7 with their summoning animals against the Ten Tails. The chapter starts with you mowing down multiple Ten Tails monsters to later have a monster boss battle with one of these creatures, to then be in this small minigame scene in which you have to dodge incoming attacks. Remember the interesting free roam battles from Storm 3? Yeah, they make a return as well, but in some specific chapters and compared to Storm 3, there aren't as many of these here. The most notable and fun free battle is the Obito's one, where you have to fight multiple white Zetsus and then at some point have to do a minigame where you have to select the correct Guru. The AI in the story mode is no joke. It has to be one of the hardest in any of the previous Storm games. The AI is ruthless and aggressive and will play as if you would be playing against a professional player. Usually it's pretty easy to get the S ranks in the story battles, but in this game, because of the AI, it's not.
A few minutes later.
How the fuck is this not an S? How the fuck is this not an S? One thing that I noticed is that for this story mode, CC2 have replaced blood in the anime cutscenes and CGI scenes with black ink. The black ink makes the scenes a bit weird, where in some sections I was curious if that is blood or something else. The reason for that is that PlayStation 4, in the PlayStation 4 days, loved to censor games that had blood or nudity in them. This is a big L for Sony, because scenes like this just make it confusing. Like, are they both squids with ink or is that just blood? One nitpick I had with the story is how they treated the Obito vs Kakashi fight. fight, which had one of the best hero-graphed fights in anime. Instead of giving us a full-fledged boss fight with CGI scenes like these, we instead got a regular 1v1 fight and that's it. After the story mode, we're able to continue the Naruto story with the beloved adventure mode. Before we start, I have to say that this mode is ass. Essentially all this is a small filler mission in which we see Naruto, Sakura and Hinata traveling the country to complete some requests, while in the meantime Sakura is trying to ship Hinata and Naruto together. During the missions they make small stops in different villages and they reminisce about past events in the story, and we are able to relive them by doing a regular 1v1 fights which have no special interactions or voice lines. Holy shit, this mode is just uninspiring. All of the dialogue scenes are just texts with no voice lines, with some minor grunts here and there. Only the start of the mode and the end of it have dedicated small CGI cutscenes. While progressing the story, you will have this timeline thingy, which will unlock some new extra timeline paths, which essentially are side missions for you to complete, and I have to say, they are tedious as hell. Majority of them are just talk to this person, fight that person, and that's it. But then there are missions like gathering all of the memory crystals across the whole world and doing 15 out of 50 Ebisu Ninja missions, which aren't hard but are just tedious and time consuming. The world in this mode is really fleshed out and is full of life. We can see how the Konoha village is populated, and for example we can see Leaf Ninjas training in the training field in the distance. Okay, I think I had enough with the single player stuff. I wonder if anyone is still playing Storm 4 online. The online part of this game is actually still alive. At first I thought it would be semi-dead because people have moved on to the next Storm installment, but no, they are still people. I actually tried to get in some matches and I was relatively able to find an opponent in about 1 to 2 minutes. Regarding the online experience, holy shit, it was cursed as hell. Most of the people I got were either red bars or yellow bars, which essentially meant that I had to play with either a 2-second delay or a 1-second delay. If this is the Storm online experience, then holy shit guys, you guys are crazy if you're playing like this. I get frustrated after the first match where it lagged like hell. Heck, I even got an opponent who used the bad connection to his advantage to spam jutsus at me and win. Another moment I had was that I finally found a blue bar opponent. I was so happy, but this happened.
Please, please, please. Yes!
Yes, he's blue, I don't care, he's blue.
12 seconds later.
Yeah, it's 1v1. He was blue, he's red, what? Thankfully the opponent was rather chill and we could fool around a bit, but finally I was able to have some sort of good Storm 4 experience because of one of my viewers. Twiz stepped up and helped me experience Storm 4 normally. Even though we both were from different regions, we had some semi-good fights even with input lag. But for real, if this is the peak Storm online experience, I'm afraid what will happen once I get Storm connections. The next thing on our list are the DLCs. Storm 4 has multiple DLCs like Gaara's and Shikamaru's adventure mode story, Boruto's expansion pack and a character DLC where we get Momoshiki and Kinshiki as playable characters. I actually have the Road to Boruto Storm 4 edition, and included in it were the adventure mode stories, all of the extra character team ultimate jutsus and the Road to Boruto story. The Boruto story follows the events of the first Boruto movie. Boruto, Naruto the movie. Damn, that's a mouthful. This mode story resembles more the story modes of Storm 2 and 3, where we are able to traverse a small area, this time being the villages or specific areas, and we are able to move the story forwards. In this story there are multiple boss battles and CGI cutscenes, and hot damn, these scenes look even better than the original Storm 4 scenes. After completing some main story points, you unlock multiple side missions which you can complete. Once you do that, you're able to get the last boss battle in the DLC, which is the Boruto vs Naruto fight with full CGI scenes. The story itself is not that long and can take you up to 2 to 3 hours to complete. The story mode itself has some interesting gimmicks and sections, for example the tuning exams. You are able to partake in a quiz minigame in which you have to get 10 correct answers, as well as a flag capturing minigame, all of which happened in the movie and the anime. This DLC not only introduces a new story and a whole different Konoha village which we can traverse through. Oh no, it also comes with multiple playable characters like multiple versions of Boruto, for example regular Boruto and the one with the ninja tool gadget thingy, Mitsuki, Sarada, Hokage Naruto and Shadow Hokage Sasuke. If I understood correctly, at that time these characters were the best in the whole game. Correct me if I'm wrong. To the question, is this the best Storm game? I would answer as no, it is not.
Hold up. Before you get your pitchforks, hear me out. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad game, it's a great game, but it has some minuses to it. The overuse of anime still frames in the story mode, the weird addition of no regenerating health in 1v1 battles, the horrendous adventure mode itself. But this game introduced new battle mechanics that shaped the way how Storm 4 was played online. The later half of the story and its visuals just carried the whole story mode as a whole, and I can't take that away from this game. The Bortos DLC is pretty good as well and can have you invested for extra 4 to 5 hours. If you have never played Storm 4, I would suggest getting the Road to Borto game, which has all of the previously mentioned Borto content. Storm Connections. I've been waiting eagerly to finally get my hands on you. Storm Connections was released on November 18, 2023, 7 long years after Storm 4 hit the shelves. This game marks the longest gap between any of the previous Storm games, which usually had a 1 to 2 year interval between releases. This installment has been dragged through the mud by almost everyone who has played it, but is it really that bad? Let's find out. But before we dive into the game's modes, we need to discuss the most important part of the game, the battle mechanics. The battle mechanics in this title have been significantly updated. While the core combat system remains the same, a major new addition is that every character now has 2 jutsus, similar to the old Ultimate Ninja games. Pressing the triangle and square button allows you to execute a second jutsu. If you have played the previous Storm games, you might remember that these inputs used to make your character throw a chakra kunai, but in this game that's been replaced by the second jutsu. The second jutsu is almost always a ranged attack, while the original jutsu remains a close range one, giving players new ways to strategize in battle. The chakra regeneration rate has also been increased. Now, if your character is standing still, chakra automatically refills faster than in any previous Storm game. It also regenerates while you're moving, though not as quickly. This automatic chakra regeneration adds another layer of strategy. Another notable change is that each character now has an unlimited supply of items. Previously, characters had 1 to 2 items per slot, but now they regenerate over time and can be used infinitely. Another new feature is that when an enemy is falling, they enter a crumple state, which allows you to extend a combo. This enables players to perform some devastating combos. In response to this, where players can juggle enemies for longer, CC2 has added a damage scaling. The longer your combo, the less damage each hit does. In this game, you now have the option to choose between a classic input system and a simplified input system. The simplified system allows you to perform every attack, dodge and jutsu with a single button, making an already easy to play game even easier. The roster in this game has been updated and slightly expanded. We now have around 130 characters to choose from. Nearly 98% of these characters are carried over from Storm 4, with the only exception being the addition of Momoshiki Kinshiki from previous DLCs, all the Karu members and adult versions of Takanoa 11 as separate characters. If I'm not mistaken, these adult versions are the same Shippuden characters, just with new skins and new slots in the roster. The character roster is being updated regularly, with new characters added every few months like Kurenai, Kawashiki and Ishiki. These can be acquired by purchasing the season pass or buying them separately. Now that we have covered this, let's move on to the first game mode, the history mode. Before we start, I have to say that I dislike this mode with a passion. The history mode essentially is a story retelling of all the events starting from OG Naruto to the end of Naruto Shippuden. The idea itself is great, but the way how they execute everything is just freaking awful. Basically, after selecting a chapter, you are presented with this timeline. The timeline has 4 different types of events. We have these empty still frames on the anime that don't have any voiceovers, just displaying some images and text that vaguely explain a small event in the story. Then we have these still frames from the previous section, but this time they are narrated by the Sage of Six Paths. I'm not kidding, these 2 sections use the same still images from the anime.
What's the point of giving me text if the next chapter will be the same thing?
The biggest issue with these still frames, at least in the initial chapters, is that in some instances the game will show you a still frame from the first rendition of the anime, and then in the next part show you a still frame from the remastered or Shippuden anime, where the quality difference is noticeable. The next event is similar to Storm 4, where we are presented with the chapter sections. This event follows the patterns of Storm 4, where we have a cutscene, a fight, another cutscene, and then another fight. The only difference is that instead of giving us any animated CGI cutscenes, we are again presented with still frames from the anime. Was it really that hard to port over some CGI cutscenes that were in Storm 4 games, like for real? The last event presented at the end of every chapter are these Naruto related surveys. Usually these surveys ask a question related to the chapter's plot. Some of the questions are simple, but the other ones can be a bit deeper. The biggest issue with this mode is that it leaves out a ton of important moments and fights from the previous games. One example is the Kazekage rescue arc. In it, we first have a 1v1 fight with Kakashi, where the boss battle is taken on Storm 2, and then the whole arc is presented with still frames from the show and explained really poorly. After the Kakashi fight, the next fight is only against Deidara, and that's it.
What the hell was that?
Heck, here's a whole list of all the boss battles that have been cut from the game but were present in the previous titles. Additionally, they have changed some boss battles into simple 1v1 fights. Some examples are Kakuzu vs Naruto, where in Storm 2 we got multiple sections of the battle and an awesome QTE event, while here is just a regular 1v1 battle. Another one is Pain vs Jiraiya. In Storm 2 we actually fought one of the other 6 paths of Pain and had multiple sections of the battle with an awesome QTE event, while here we fight only the Yahiko Pain version and that's it. The whole scene of Jiraiya dying is brought to us by anime still frames in lazy content we trust. Another sin that this mod commits is that it oversimplifies the QT scenes and reduces the number of stars that are needed to be gathered in order to see the secret factor. In the previous games, the QT events were easy and there were a lot of them, making it easy to get the secret factor. I'm still clueless why they reduced the difficulty. Speaking of difficulty, it's non-existent in this game. I am not sure if there's a slider or anything, but beating the 1v1 boss fights is way too easy. The previous Storm Games battles were easy, with the exception of being Storm 4 and Storm 3's last battle, but here they have made them even more easier. In the end, the whole issue with missing fights and boss battles not related to Naruto and Sasuke kinda makes sense, because in the end it turns out that the Sage of Six Packs was retelling the story of Naruto. Yes, Naruto, not the whole series as a whole, but from Naruto's perspective, which is why we mostly experience only fights involving Naruto. After finishing this mod, we also helped Jiraiya finish his book, which is titled The Tale of Naruto Uzumaki. This whole recapping the Naruto story is also in the special story of this game. The special story is the strongest part of this whole game, single player wise. The special story is a filler storyline in which Boruto takes the lead role. This mod story was written by Masashi Kishimoto and in my opinion he really cooked with this one. Essentially, the mod works the same way as Storm 4's story mode. This time we have chapters and each chapter consists of multiple, and I mean multiple, in-game cutscenes and some CGI animated cutscenes that, when shown, look phenomenal. The cutscenes in this game are long, like really long. If you're not a fan of heavy story and lore related elements, this mod probably isn't for you. Alongside the cutscenes we also have some 1v1 battles, which are really easy in this game, as well as some interesting boss battles that aren't that hard. One minus I'll give this mod is that there are no QT events. In some parts of the story, I feel like adding QT events would make the players more engaged in the story and not just watch a 15-minute cutscene without interruption. During the story, there is one section where we are presented with a mission layout, allowing us to tackle specific missions that basically involve us defeating a set of enemies with specific teams in common, and that's it. The story, in my opinion, is one of the best Naruto game filler stories out there. I will cover only the first part of the story because I would like to encourage you to experience it for yourself if you can. Everything starts with this VR game called Ninja Heroes, which is being played by everyone in the world. Boruto is a big fan of this game and even convinces his friends to play along with him. In the meantime, a scientific researcher has stolen some new equipment and deserted the Konoha village. It turns out that the scientist defected to a new criminal organization called Zero. Zero's plan is to bring peace to the ninja world, the same way Pain and Madara try to do. The leader of the organization is called Mertz, and he looks like this. He is a follower of Pain and follows Pain's ideology, but has his own way of reaching world peace. While Boruto and gang are playing this new VR game, Boruto makes a new friend, an NPC by the name of Nanashi, who doesn't even like an NPC, but more like as a person, which is actually strange. Whenever Boruto plays the game, he always interacts with her. I have to note that every time Boruto plays the game, he feels a bit tired and exhausted. At first, Boruto doesn't pay attention to it, but he should. One time when Boruto was playing the game, in the real world, a Mangekyo Sharingan appeared on the moon, and everyone in the world was tagged with this Mangekyo Sharingan, which actually looks like Akashi's Sharingan, but nobody notices it. It turns out that the rogue researcher had created the whole gaming console and the whole game in order to fulfill Mertz's plan. Remember when I mentioned that Boruto always felt fatigued after a gaming session? It turns out that the game was sucking the life force out of the players, even making some of the players pass out for multiple days. The sucked life force was then used to create the infinite Tsukiyomi, through which Mertz is able to control everyone who was tagged into doing his bidding, leading to the start of another ninja world war. I won't spoil the rest of the story because if you've gotten the game, I highly suggest playing through the whole story. All I'm going to say is that one specific character makes a cameo in this game and plays a huge role in the story, and Nanashi plays a huge role in the story after a major plot twist is revealed. The ending of this mod is full of emotion and has an awesome culmination between Boruto and a specific character in the story. This whole mod made me cry, which is a rare for me when playing video games. In my opinion, this mod carries the whole single player aspect of the game. But okay, what about the online part of this game? At the time of writing this, the online experience for this game is actually pretty fun and satisfying. I'll be honest, I suck at online and I always lose, but this is the first time where losing still feels enjoyable. The online mode currently offers only 3 modes: casual, ranked and custom matches. If I'm not mistaken, the casual match mode wasn't introduced at the game's release, which is crazy in my opinion. Casual mode is almost dead because no one is playing this game casually. The majority of the player base can be found in the ranked section. The players in this mode are just cracked. Even a at lower levels. In connections, when you find an opponent, you can first decide whether to accept the match or not based on the opponent's connection bar. This feature was also introduced later and was not available at launch. Additionally, while waiting for an opponent, you might see the character's logo and a level below them. In this game, when you play a character online or offline, you can earn experience points to show how proficient you are with the character. Another thing I have to mention regarding characters is that character customization has been brought back from Storm Revolution. Now players are able to customize their favorite characters and use the new outfits online. The connection between players isn't as bad as I thought. If you're playing with a yellow bar, expect a 1 to 2 second delay, while on a blue bar you might get a 1 second delay. Unfortunately, there's no rollback netcode. We still have to deal with peer-to-peer connection, which is an L for CC2. After finishing a match, there's a small feature where you can clap for your opponent. I guess to promote good sportsmanship, doing so will give you 1 Rio. Also, after finishing a match, you have the option to rematch the same opponent up to 3 times, which is a great addition. One thing that has changed is that in Storm 4, we could see the players' disconnection rate and decide whether to play against them or not. Here they have the similar system but have changed it to smiley faces. Green means almost no rage quits, yellow means that the player sometimes tends to do it, and red means they will 100% rage quit. Recently, a new system was implemented that punishes players who rage quit by stripping them off of BP points. This change addresses most of the issues players had with rage quitters, though I assume there are still ways to mitigate this by turning off the console or something. Previously, people could rage quit games and not lose their BP or their winning streak, which is just scummy in my opinion. The game was hyped a lot before its release. People expected this to be Storm 5 we had all been waiting for, but after the game showcase, everything went downhill. Fans' hopes were crushed and they were angry, and rightfully so. The history mode is a joke of a mode and shouldn't even exist. Ultimate Ninja 4 and 3 had a history mode and they did it 100 times better. But the biggest joke was the game facing accusation of using AI for some of the voice lines.
Did that wake you up?
The personal story mode is great and I enjoyed it the most in this game. The story in itself is just superb. The online is good, but I can't really talk much about it since I'm not experienced with it. But my experience with it has been positive. Even though I get my ass handed to me, it's still fun, though there are some issues with it overall. The game is not great. It isn't worth the full price of $60 or $70. Heck, it's not even worth $30, which is what I actually paid for. If you're a Storm online player and only care about online, I suggest maybe waiting for a sale to justify the online mode. The same goes for the single player content. If you enjoy long, story-driven narratives with not much action, I would recommend getting it only for the special story, but only if the game is at an 80% discount or something. The history mode is just straight garbaggio and doesn't justify any price. But yeah, what do you guys think? Have you played it? If so, what do you think about the online and single player content? Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, that's it for me. I wish you all a nice day/evening. Bye guys.